What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of BKNY Hoops. If you are new to the channel, I'm your host as always, Rashid White. All right, you guys see the graphics. You see the actual title of the show. Cam Johnson could be used in a Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade, and I think right now this is actually a huge mistake. Now, if we're looking at Jonathan Kuminga, is he an upgrade to Cam Johnson? And like right now, Jonathan Kuminga is actually struggling with the Golden State Warriors, and now that could be a Steve Kerr thing, or that could be a Jonathan Kuminga thing. Let's get into the actual article, and you guys see it right here. Cam Johnson could be using a Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade. And it says, for months, the Brooklyn Nets maintained they wouldn't trade Cam Johnson without receiving ample value in return. Rival teams were interested in acquiring the veteran sharpshooter, both ahead of the 24-25 NBA season and at the February trade deadline, but Brooklyn wouldn't budge. All right, so this summer, there's a way that the Golden State Warriors, longtime members of Johnson's suitors list, could finally land a perfect complementary piece next to Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. All of it, of course, Golden State is a former lottery selection who fell out of Steve Kerr's rotation and is slated to enter restricted free agency. Now, I don't know, man. Like, if he's not looking good in Golden State, like, how would he look over here when he actually really has, he has the help in terms of like Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler to take like a lot of attention off of him, and he's still struggling. So it says the Warriors offered Kuminga a 5-year, $150 million deal before this past season, an extension which he declined, opting to bet on himself. But will likely command to 20 to 25 million on the open market, depending on his performance in Golden State's postseason run. That number is subject to change. So where does Johnson fit? Moving on for Johnson never made complete sense due to his value. He's still under the age of 30, averaging 18 points per game in a year where he was primarily Brooklyn's #1 offensive weapon and was set to carry a $20.5 million cap hit in 2025-2026 season. For the production, Johnson's contract is a bargain, is likely why the Nets have been so hesitant to move him. Yeah, I mean, we actually seen real growth with Cam Johnson in terms of being able to put the basketball on the floor, 1-2 dribble pull-ups, able to, like, let's say, keep a defender off his hips, once he actually really gets by that in terms of being able to attack a closeout, and some improved playmaking. So, I mean, the only thing that really is holding Cam Johnson from being like, let's say, an all-star caliber player is that, is the ball handling and like high level playmaking. That's the one thing that's really kind of holding Cam Johnson back. Now, let's get into Jonathan Kuminga. Right now, he's actually really struggling right now. And my thing is with Kuminga is like, what makes him like, what is he really good at, man? Now, his NBA comp, we'll go into his scouting report right over here, is they say is Jaylen Brown. And we'll get into the strengths real quick, I guess. And it says 6'7", 220 pounds. Kuminga is a physical force on both ends of the court. Freakish athletic with explosiveness, strength, and great body control. All right, so we know all the strengths that he actually has, but we also got to focus on the weaknesses, because if you get into like a 7-game series, like, opposing coaches will read this scouting report right here and actually use this against you. Now, this is actually him coming out of college. The fact that maybe he didn't improve on a lot of this stuff. So coming out of college, he averaged 24.6% from deep, 62% from the foul line. So yeah, I mean, like with those kind of numbers, you can't be, especially from the free throw line, you can't be like the main guy. You got to actually be a role player, Those numbers simply won't cut it at the next level, and it will severely limit Kuminga's minutes and impact. See, and that's just probably exactly what's happening right now. It says lacks moves in the post and often use the same spin move every time he got on the block. Yeah, you got to be like unpredictable when it comes to your offense, man. You see that with Julius Randle. He has like one go-to move. and if you like really kind of pay attention to him, you really can kind of like take that away from him. So it's the same thing with Kuminga over here. It says he can make he can make difficult finishes. What was I? I'm sorry. All right, so okay, where was I? Okay, he needs more diversity. Yeah, exactly. He needs more diversity in his post moves. If he wants to score against bigger, stronger defenders, can make difficult finishes, but sometimes botches easy ones. He needs to spend time developing his offensive game, as is clear that checks every athletic and size box. So yeah, you can't just be an athletic guy, man. You have to have more layers to your game. And I don't know, man. I'm looking at like Kay Cunningham in these playoffs, and then I look at Jonathan Kuminga. Why? I'm like, nah, man. I'm just like, I'd rather them try to like, see if you can actually draft Dylan Harper. I mean, he's like the closest thing I've seen to Cade. Maybe a poor man's version of him. Yeah. So, where was it over here? There was more weaknesses. It says can be too quick with the trigger, settles for a lot of contested threes. Shot selection overall can improve, and although he's been efficient from the floor, he's very high volume attempts, 17.2 shots per game and this is him in 2019. We know, yeah, exactly. He shot his 3-point shot has actually gotten better in 2019. So 3.7 rebounds. You like to see those rebounds get higher. The turnovers over here, 3.5 turnovers. Yeah, I don't know, man. And this is another article, and it says over here why Brooklyn needs to trade Cam Johnson this offseason. I'm saying, listen, I've been saying this for the last 8 months, 9, 10 months. Keep Cam Johnson. Shooters are really, really, really valuable. All right, this is one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on over here, man. And this kind of really kind of gets me mad about these stupid reporters. I think these guys are like secret Nick reporters. They're like, I don't understand what's wrong with these guys here, man. So the Nets are prioritizing player development and long-term planning. All right, listen, you're not going to take a Nick Claxton, a Noah Clowney, a Zaire Williams, right? You're not going to turn them into all-star players. It's just, they have to come into the league. Like, you look at Paolo Banchero, you look at Wemby, you look at Chet Holmgren, you look at Şengün, right? Jason Tatum, LeBron James, like Ja Morant, Zion, Kay Cunningham. Like, you look at these guys, like, you're not going to turn Clowney into like a Jaren Jackson Jr. or Bam Adebayo or anything like that, man. You can look at Jaren Jackson Jr. right now, and you see like, and he's like levels ahead of Noah Clowney, right? They play the same position damn near. And look, he doesn't really have any type of impact on the floor. Look how skilled he is. So it would take Noah Clowney. It doesn't work. I mean, out of all the years I've been watching the NBA, man, I've never seen a role player, that's one-dimensional, turn into like an all-star. You have to go and get the players via draft or via trade or free agency. You're not going to take for the most part, a 28, 29 second-round pick. For the most part, like I said, there are some exceptions to the rule, and turn them into like an all-star. It doesn't work like that. And we know the Brooklyn Nets development sucks. We look at Nick Claxton. He hasn't developed 6 years. Pretty much the same player. Most of the NBA development system sucks anyway. Look at Portland when they had Dame and they had CJ McCollum. They had a bunch of players over there. They couldn't morph those guys into like high caliber all-star players. So the players actually have to be there, man. So yeah, this is crazy over here, man. I'm keeping Cam Johnson. Shooters are really, 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 really valuable, right? Spacing in basketball is actually important. And I'm not out there trying to help out other teams. Nobody's out there trying to help the Brooklyn Nets out. So why should we help and try to go get Steph Curry another championship? F Golden State. I can't stand them. I hate them. I hate Steve Kerr. You know, F them. They had a chance to actually trade for Cam Johnson, right? Back at last year's trade deadline, and they missed the boat. I would keep him, right? If you do get a Cooper Flag over here, if you do get a Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey, they're going to need spacing around them. And Cam Johnson is really like the perfect, player to really accelerate a rebuild. So, all right, what time is it, man? It's like 12. I mean, all right, I'm gonna get some sleep, man. I've talked long enough. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, share the show. Live stream tonight, Monday night, Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm gonna try to bust up the energy and get these live streams going again, man. And find the passion again, man. So definitely like, comment, subscribe. Certainly share this video. When you share, the universe certainly shares back with you. Peace.